Hello, everybody. I'm happy to welcome around about 150 registered participants from all over the world to today's webinar. We will present the transformation of high-quality input data created by a CRUSE scanner to spectacular results printed on a SwissQPrint device. Please let me start by introducing CRUSE, the manufacturer of high-end scanning devices. My name is Heinz Kannen. I'm the CEO of CRUSE, and I'm joined today by my colleagues Martin Paffrath, Manager of Business Unit 1 and the top product specialist who will do the technical presentation, and Dr. Martin Weyer, a valuable member of our research and development team who will answer your questions regarding software in the following Q&A session. Our company was founded 42 years ago in 1979. The location of CRUSE is Wachtberg, a village near Bonn, the former capital of Germany. We have dedicated our professional lives to the manufacturing of high-quality, large-format scanners for various applications. The creation of the best possible basis for the reproduction of originals by acquiring high-quality images has always been our goal. Our scanners and the software that comes with our products is completely built and customized in Germany. Right now, we have 3 showrooms worldwide, one in Houston, Texas, one in our own offices here in Germany, and another one in Hangzhou in China. We have customers in many different branches with approximately 1,000 machines in field. From art reproduction to archiving, applications used by service providers and the decor industry, our scanners are used in places all over the world. CRUSE has a range of standard scanners available. You can see various models on this slide. But one of our biggest assets is the flexibility to develop and build customized scanners that perfectly fit our customers' needs. In most of the cases, though, our standard scanner series with all the optional features fulfill our customer specifications already. I will not go through the list of options now, but variable light angles and resolution, as well as multiple scan sizes, are a few of the options that our customers can choose from today. If you're interested in the details, you're welcome to ask questions later in the Q&A session or browse through our website anytime you like. This was a short and concise description of our company and products. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you will enjoy the following webinar. I will now hand over to Mr. Mike Kritzi, I hope I said that right, the president of SwissQPrint America, who will give you a short introduction to his company. Mike, please take over.
Thank you, Henrik. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session hosted by CRUSE Scanners and SwissQPrint America. For those who are just joining us for the first time, welcome. We're pleased to have you. I'd like to introduce you our panelists for the day. We have Jason DeLuca on the SwissQPrint side. He's our application specialist and demonstration manager, and also Michael Hemmelgarn, our sales territory manager. I would like to go over a short description of who we are and where SwissQPrint comes from. So, we were founded in 2007 in Switzerland by 3 ex-Zund engineers. SwissQPrint is an independent manufacturer of high-end UV printing systems. It's recognized as a driver of innovation in digital printing technology. Has Swiss roots characterized by high precision, outstanding performance, and exceptional reliability. Green tech, this is something we're very proud of. Our machines have very low emissions and usage. Our shipping distances are short. 80% of our suppliers and 90% of all machine parts are Swiss enterprises located nearby. Moreover, the printers are 100% developed and produced in our headquarters in Switzerland. The UV printing also has a the LED lights, they do not require much of the heat usually mercury lamps generate. We have SwissQPrint product service. It's the very longevity, reliability, and exceptional reliability. Now, oops. Green tech. This is something, it's totally new. Our inks are free of harmful substances. With SwissQPrint, you get production done without the unnecessary polluting the environment. Ozone emissions are not an issue with UV LED curing. Thanks to LED technology, toxic waste is eliminated. SwissQPrint inks are VOC free and Green Guard Gold certified. This is a picture of our factory in Switzerland where everything happens. The whole build-up from scratch happens there. We only support them, maintain them overseas. Swiss made. As we said earlier, over 90% of roughly 2,200 machine parts are made in Switzerland. More than 80% of about 200 suppliers are Swiss enterprises, most of them located in our region. Also, the flatbeds. SwissQPrint is very successful in Europe. Since 2015 until today, we are #1 in Europe because Europe, that's where we started. Our product portfolio includes Oryx 3, Impala 3, and Iala 3. Of course, we have other versions of the machine. Those are the speed models. Some of them do not apply to the texture technology. Also, we have new, which one is the Caribou, the roll-to-roll machine, which one you can generate texture through roll-to-roll, even though other competitions don't. And for now, I want to pass it over again to CRUSE. Thank you very much for my introduction and looking forward to hear from you guys when this thing is over.
Thank you, Mike. So I will share my screen. So hello to all also from my side. I want to do a little bit more technical part. So I will show you now live how we use our software to create 3D data from our images and which is then printed on a SwissQ. So for this, I will explain a little bit from the scanner during the scans are running. So I will just now start the scan to show you how easy it is to get a 3D scan done. So this is our main software, and what you see on the right side is the scanner, and it is a live video. Yes, so you can see while I'm showing the software and explain a little bit, you can see live what the machine is doing. Hopefully the light will not be too bright. What you see is our new mini ST series, which have a table size from 60 by 1 meter 20 at this version, and we also have a smaller one with 60 by 60 centimeter. On the left side is our CRUSE Design Studio, which is our software framework, and inside this are all the small little applications you can see here on the left side, which is a project explorer or the scan software, image stacking, CRUSE Factory. I will explain this a little bit later more in detail. But if I want to start a scan, I just have to press the scan button. And now you can see also already the workflow process window where I just set up the name, let's say Webinaire behind, and then I have here a template button here, and there I can save templates with predefined settings. So the software will help you to make the things you need to do to get the result you need or you want to have. So what we want to have today is a 3D surface scan. So I just select this, and then the software already selects, okay, we need to do scans. We need to do scans in different modes. And then we need to calculate from this data the 3D surface information. And that's also a little bit what I want to show you. I'm now on a different PC than the scan PC, and I'm connected via remote desktop. So on this PC, I will do the scanning, and then the software will send it through the network to my PC where I just sit on, and will do the scan, the calculation. So this helps to make the workflow and to get the scanner running and do the other jobs on a different PC. So you see here, this is the scan PC. I will do the scans on this one, and the factory calculation I do on the other PC I'm just sitting on. So I will start the software now. A little bit about the machine. So we are using a line sensor. So for this, I hope you can see my mouse. The table is moving below the the sensor, and we are capturing line by line while the table is moving. So this makes it possible to have the same illumination over the whole scan height, which gives us a realistic effect. And then by doing some lighting techniques, we can create effects in the image. I want to show you also now later. But so what we have here is a small part of wood, and this is what we want to scan today. So I can select here just my scan frame. This was done by a preview. And then what else I have to do, I have to measure the original height and put them in here. So this one is 2.5 centimeters thick. And then to get the 3D calculation, I need to do 4 different scans with different light directions, and I will just start them now. They are also predefined. And while they are running, I can show you a little bit or explain a little bit more about the lights and the effects we can create with it. So you see the scanner starts running. And I will show you now on my other PC here a little bit about the lights. So what I have here is the image stacking, and here I did 7 different scans with different illuminations. So left, right means I get light from left and right sides. So it looks pretty flat. I can go a little bit more to the center. Yeah. Then what we can do, we can have the light only from the left side, which is then left texture. And there you see already.
Wir sehen immer noch das Design Studio.
Ja, es ist auch, aber the bricks, you see the bricks, correct?
Nee, nur die Fehlermeldung continue without warm-up.
Ah, sorry. Okay. So I want to show you this one. Now? Okay, so sorry for this. Switching applications is not good, I learned now. So, okay, here you see the illumination from the left and the right side. So it looks pretty flat. And what I can do then is, this one is done with only from the left side light. So you see on here, shadows are appearing, and this looks already a little bit more three-dimensional. And then I can direct the light from the upper left side, for example, and then it looks really three-dimensional and realistic, like a real brick wall. What else I can do here is I can mix those scans together to get anything between the different scans. So you can really mix them to a setup or to a mix you want to have. And then I can export this files again later. So now I need to change the screen again. Okay, here now the first scan was run, and what we do is we are scanning now with 4 different light directions, one from the upper left side, one from the upper right side, and then from the lower left side and the lower right side as well. The scanner here is we developed a very high power LED lights to have a real fast scanning. So you see here at the bottom that we are scanning now for, of course this is just a small part, but one scan is just 1 minute and 2 seconds, and it's in 600 dpi already. So now the light or the light direction switched. And while the scan is running, I can also switch here between my design studio, between applications. And let me open, I don't know, we will have this 1 second. This okay, a little bit more about the machine. So this machine we equipped with our sensor we are also using in our big machines. Yeah, so our goal was to build a small, medium-sized entry-level machine which can do the 3D calculation and have the same optical quality we have in our bigger scanners. You can get until 1.50 by 2.50 scan size. So inside is really the same chip. So now we have the first set of scans ready. So we have the left and we have two ready. Now we need to rotate or switch the light angle devices, which are some optical lenses in front of the lights, and these lenses are redirecting the light to a different direction. So this is how we get the light from these four sides. Now we just need to switch them between the two. The colleague is helping me. So from the right side to the left and from the left side to the right, and now then we get the opposite direction from each side, and then I just have to confirm this, and the next two scans will start. Yeah, so a little bit about color quality. With this machine we can reach a delta E, an average below 1, which is then normally you cannot see it with the human eye. So also the color quality, the resolution, the sensor, everything have the same quality than our bigger synchron table series. So that's a pretty nice and very fast machine, and of course in a lower price range. So of course, when you remove this light angle devices, you can also create a gloss effect and a flat illumination and a one-side illumination, which comes then only from the left side. So yeah, to show you, I want to show you one sample we scanned. Which have also the gloss effect. No. I can show you here. While the last scan is running, I will just share another window. So this is also a three-dimensional scan we did from our gold heart. This is something we are using a lot, and this one have also gloss effect inside. So when we want to capture the gloss as well, we need, on top of the 4 different scans, we need to calculate for the 3D surface information. We need one more scan, and then we can capture really only the gloss parts of this area. And as you see here, only the gold parts are reflecting or are shining when the light is set up to it. So our scan is running now. Then we have the 4 scans done from this part of wood, and I will show you how to calculate the 3D data.
Maybe we have any questions in the meantime. In case you do, write them in the chat. I can bring them up front or try to answer them myself in the chat, but I will try to answer them to the best of my abilities, or ask the panelists if they can give an answer if it's more interesting for the broader audience. So the scanner captures all lighting data to allow for changes in post-production. Yeah, that's one question that's popping up right now. I mean, all lighting data would be like to have 360 degrees of lighting. We cannot do that, but we can give you like light from each side of a scan with lighting from each side of the original. I hope this answers your question. So we need to have different light directions in order to reconstruct the surface details, and in order to allow scans to be mixed, to have that nice output and ability to make surface details stand out more, as Martin showed in this application here. The gloss effect I can see with your software, but in terms of printing, how to use it? Well, I guess that's still an open question to some extent, right? reproducing real gloss on surfaces is still a challenge, I would say, but maybe I'm not the expert on printing here, so.
Yeah, maybe Jason can answer this later. So
yeah.
Can you see now the overview, the white screen? With here the Wood webinar, the project?
Yeah. It's for later. Okay. Yeah, Martin, just continue. I will continue answering questions in the chat.
Okay, perfect. So now I'm on the PC, I'm sitting here. So you see we have this 4 scans done, and I will now open the factory software, and the factory software is our software part, which is using the 4 light directed, or the 4 scans with different light directions to calculate the 3D data. So now it's analyzing it, and then we will get the first preview of this of the depth map of this this original. So first it will be it's in wrong color, it's called. So it's blue is the lowest part and yellow is the highest part. But I can switch this also to grayscale, which is I guess most people are know grayscale a little bit better. And what we see now is still a preview. Yeah, so we get a very fast preview, and then we can select different settings like flatness. I will explain later a little bit more. But what I will do now is I will start the calculation right now, and I will show you. So we have this 4 scans, and I zoom a little bit in to show you the light direction. So here the light is from the upper left side. Here's from the lower right side, the upper right side, and the lower left side. So from this we get the 4 light directions, and using this 4 light directions we can calculate the 3D data. This software will still be, you can still use it while the calculation is running. Yeah? So I can also switch now already to diffuse color, which is a channel calculated from the 4 light directions, but without any gloss, reflection, or shadows inside. Of course, here in the holes there is nothing, so it's black, but all other shadows are not there anymore. And this is good if you want to print a color channel on top of a build-up surface, for example. Then you don't want to get shadows. I guess Erin will say something different later, because she's printing a light angle scan on top of the surface, but yeah, she has more experience with this thing. But what else I can do here is I can switch to the shaded view, and this is then the real 3D view where I can control it. I can zoom in, zoom out, and of course I can go pretty fast. And by the way, the calculation is already done. Yeah, so we now have already the calculated 3D information. And then if I click here on this shading button at the top side, I can control my light. So I can really use this yellow square here and move the light around the original. So with this function, I'm able to create any lightning direction or any light effect later. So I have the 3D surface data, I have the color data on top, and then I can, by the software, I can set up the light. So I can move it here on the around the originals, place it where I want to have it. I can even add more lights, a second one, place it on the other side. I can adjust the power of each light individual, or remove it again. And so I can create new images using like this. So I can also remove the color here, and I need to reduce the light a little bit. And then we have the surface without color, but sometimes it's better to see what's happening there to switch off the color to really see if we capture all details we want to see later. But I can also increase the depth. So of course this is too much, and I can invert it a little bit. But I think the real data, or like it is really looking, is if you stay at 1. And I can also, let me switch on the color again. I can add some gloss. Oh, that's too much. So at this point, then where the light goes, also I can create some gloss effects. Or what I showed you before, if I have gloss on original and I did the 5th scan with the in the special mode, we also get a gloss map, which will then we have only the parts glossy or reflective, which are in real also glossy or reflective. But we decided to take a wood today, and this have not really gloss, so I switch it off again. What else we can do? We can now export the data, of course. We can manipulate it already, so we can do some color corrections. We can do some corrections in the grayscale and import it again to reuse them in the software. So you can also always use this three-dimensional view to get a good idea how the end product, how to print or whatever you are doing with the data will look later. So I can change the power intensity. Yes, that's a fast overview over it, but I think that's probably all we can do in the software here. Yeah, if you have questions, please use the chat, and then I will move forward to Jason, and he will now use our software to create the data he needs from this original.
We postpone Q&A to the end, right? For both of our parts. Okay. I'm trying to collect and answer questions, so there are a couple of them actually in the chat right now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jason. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Martin. Thank you, Martin. That was very interesting to see some more of what the software does from the scanning side. But let me see if I can get my screen up. So actually, before I get started, I don't know if you can see behind me in one of the pictures, but I'm going to start one of the prints that we're actually going to be working on today. So this should be done hopefully before I'm done talking. So let's just send this. So we'll do some texture printing, and hopefully we can get through this pretty quickly. So we're going to be doing the dark rough wood today, and so I'm going to just be using the texture part of this. The software actually is very, very easy to use, extremely user-friendly. I was very happy when Martin gave me the demo on this. I do like the black and white version of this. And I did already run the calculation, so we'll jump right into the depth slices here. So what this view allows me to do is I can actually see a preview of how much texture and how much detail I'm going to get for any texture print that I want to do. One of the really nice things here is I can actually set either by fixed depth or by number of slices that I want to use, how much texture I'm looking to get. So for this particular one that I'm running, I have it set for 6 slices. One of the other really fascinating things to me about the CRUSE software was I have the ability to really clip out areas of this that I don't need. So if I would like to run, say 0.13 millimeter slices, you can see how many slices there are, and I'm going to end up printing quite a bit of ink in these areas that it's not really useful. So by being able to clip out all of this area that really has no texture data, I'm able to just calculate out the amount of texture that I'm going to need to rebuild this accurately. So I just find this software in particular was very, very simple to get used to. I don't really ever use scanning software, so I was very impressed with how quick this came together. So once I have my slices set, I click OK.
Jason, we didn't saw the slices window, I think. We just see this main window.
Slices window?
No.
I'm sorry about that. Let me try and change the screen share then.
Thank you, Erin, for the hint.
All right. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. So I'll take you back through that a little bit. So from this window, I can either set a fixed distance for each of my layers. So normally when I would come in, I would get something that looks along the lines of this. I print to 0.13 millimeters, and you can see I have a lot of slices that really don't have anything in them. There's really no point in me exporting these. So through the CRUSE software, I'm actually able to adjust the sliders and clip out all of the data that's really not going to be useful while I do my printing. So now you can see I have good data in every single one of the slices here. So it's going to save time, it's going to save ink, and I'm going to get really, really accurate reproductions through this. I can also, if I wanted to, just go with a fixed number of slices. So if I wanted to, you know, adjust the amount of texture that I have, I can just do that manually. Really interesting was I can actually adjust individual slices up here, where I can now see this is exactly the amount of texture that I wanted. So I click OK, and then I export my slices. So I'm going to take the depth information and the color information, click export. This whole process, once I got the files from Martin, takes me maybe 5 or 6 minutes to set up a full texture painting, which to me is absolutely amazing. So we're going to pop out of here for a minute, and I'm just going to play a quick video of what I do in Photoshop for post-processing on these. So we run actions to be able to manipulate all of the data in here. If anybody is interested, if you're ever messing around with the CRUSE software, we're happy to send you the actions so that you can play around with them. But this whole process can be automated. You can run this on batches of scans. So the first thing we're going to do is, because these scan at such a high resolution, I generally reduce the resolution for the texture layer. Then going to invert the image. Martin did mention that he can invert them in the software, but this is just kind of the way we did it. And then we also changed this to CMYK. It just helps with the way we're building texture in our printer. One of the other ways we try to make this a little faster is we're going to copy the CMYK data you can see here, and we're going to paste that into a white and a varnish channel. That allows us to use all of our color channels to build texture as fast as possible. The scan we're doing now is 6 layers plus white and color, and it's just about done printing. So when this is finished, this is what the file I have is going to look like. There was 6 of these. Generally, if I run these as a batch, the entire thing takes maybe 20 minutes to finish the entire process. So setup on these can be fully automated and comes out super accurate. There is one other step that we use from a printing standpoint. We're going to be using our RIP that we use is called Caldera, and I just wanted to show how easy it is to set up running these scans. So we have presets for all of them. You can drop a file in that was pre-done through Photoshop. We can do all of our texture scans at once. So this would be all 8 layers of texture in this file. And then we have presets for the color layers as well, which run at a much higher resolution, so we can get that nice detail that the CRUSE guys are able to get for us. This particular file, I had converted to CMYK profile, but in general, most of their scans all come with embedded RGB profiles. So as Martin said, the color accuracy on these things is absolutely phenomenal. You can see here, we're just going to add a white layer where the color is. There is no varnish in this, and I know someone had asked the question. Our particular brand of printers, we do have varnish in our printers. You can actually do a gloss effect, a semi-gloss effect, matte effects. You can also, in the same painting, use all of the effects at the same time. So for the gold heart painting that Martin had showed earlier, when we print that here, we always put a gloss varnish over the gold, and it looks tremendously good. So from my perspective, that's pretty much all there is to setting up a texture print and getting it moving. So I will stop my screen share for a sec. We're just putting down white, but I do have one of the wood scans already kind of done. I'm not sure how easy it is to see all the texture on here. This doesn't have, I mean, because this is more of a flat image, you can still see the texture on it. But we've done scans with Martin before that are much more textured than this. It's just a matter of how many layers you want to put down and how much texture you're going to build. So that should be done in about 30 seconds. I don't know, we can pass it back or we can start answering questions while the machine's running.
Do you know what is the limit of the height you're able to print? Is there a limit or?
So you can print up to 2 inches thick. So I would say a lot of people, you know, they're printing on either canvas, so you can add quite a bit on there, or you can print on canvas art boards, pre-framed boards, up to 2 inches thick.
We have some questions in the chat. So there's one question on, is there any cost estimation 3D ink price for patterns with known depth?
That's a good question. I would say it's kind of hard to estimate. So when I do samples, most of my samples are fairly thin. I would say Aaron's probably going to be able to talk about this a little better on the thicker stuff, like when you're doing an actual reproduction and it has to be perfect. I would say you're probably going to be in the maybe over $1 to maybe $2 a square foot ink cost for like really, really thick paintings.
So we have one question on the CRUSE scanner side. There's one specific question asking for the price of the Mini ST. Maybe Heinz or Martin can step in at this point.
Heinz, you or me? Okay, the smaller one is for the US. It's around, maybe Mike, please correct me, $60,000, $65,000. The 60 by 60 centimeter or 24 by 24 inch, and the bigger one, the 60 centimeter by 1 meter 20 or 24 by 48 inch, is around 80. I don't know if I calculated correctly in my in my head from euro to US dollar, but I think it's around this price range. But of course, shipment and installation is on top. But
I don't know the dollar prices. I only know the euro prices, and it's 49,800 for the small one and 69,900 for the bigger one.
So there's a question on the CRUSE software side. There's people with running the old software of the CRUSE scanner, and we are fairly backward compatible with our software. I would say you get in touch with Martin in case you want details on the update process and how that works afterwards. There's a pretty good chance that we can get the latest software running on your machine, and that you have good chances that you get all these beautiful abilities we saw in the presentation today. So there's a question on what's the permanence for fine art applications of UV ink? What is the permanence for fine art applications of UV inks?
So generally our inks are rated for, I want to say it's about 7 years for color fastness. If you have applications that need to be, you know, outdoors for long periods of time, we would recommend putting coating on it. Indoors, I would say it's really not going to be an issue though. Really the fading generally occurs when it's in direct sunlight for long periods.
There's also the question on how does this compare to the touchstone from Canon? Do we answer that?
no, I don't think we talk about different products today.
No, we don't.
I can answer that. We don't talk about competition, but we talk about ourselves. As Jason explained it, we create different slices, and then we have this auto increment, which one you don't have to stop the machine and measure the thickness every time. So we don't talk about our competition. We talk how we do it.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Okay. So what's the longevity of the inks, or do we?
I think we go on and later we will try to answer.
So you want to step in?
Jason, you are ready, or I think the print is ready?
Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. So this takes about, I think it was 6.5 or 7 minutes. This is 8 layers, plus white, plus color. Not sure how easy it is to kind of get a sense of the depth on that. But this is a fairly thin print. When I did this the first time, it actually had way too much texture. It looked really cool, but it didn't look like wood anymore. So.
Okay. So finally, I want to talk a little bit.
Sorry, Jason, you weren't full screen. I think for us, it's still Aaron who's full screen for some reason.
Oh, I see the gallery.
And just so you guys know, if anybody's interested, we're more than happy to send samples of this to anybody who wants to reach out to Michael or Martin or Mike or anybody. More than happy to send out as many of these as you guys are interested in.
And we have still some time for questions left after our last speaker of today, right?
Yes.
And now, Martin, I will.
Yeah, I want to introduce her a little bit. So we are very happy that Aaron joined our webinar today. Let me tell you a little bit. When I think we heard first time end of 2019, if I'm right, from her, and pretty fast she ordered a scanner, and then we was very impressed how straightforward she put this three-dimensional printing into her, or how she organized the workflow. And a few weeks later, she already put the prints on her web shop, which for us was really impressive. Yeah, so it was fast, and you are I think you are the first one who bring this in the art or in the fine art gallery to a business, which is pretty successful. So we are very happy you're here and you share a little bit your experience. And yeah, please go on.
Thank you for the introduction. Is it showing me okay now?
Works very good.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I first discovered CRUSE in a lifelong search for finding the highest quality 2D reproductions of my artwork. I paint in oils, so there's a lot of texture involved in my painting. And I have spent countless tens of thousands of dollars on photography equipment and filters and lights and everything to try to capture very high quality images so I can print them on canvas. Prints are a big part of my business. And I like scanners, but with flatbed scanners, you're putting the painting face down and you lose all the texture because the light is coming at 90 degrees to your painting. So the beautiful thing about the CRUSE scanners is the light comes in from the side, and so you actually create shadows. And I was ready to throw down my $180,000 just to have that problem solved for me, just to create 2D images. And amazingly, this technology also creates 3D, a 3D application, and I have since developed 3D prints of my work, and I now offer that as a middle price point between my 2D prints and my originals. So it's been very successful. I've sold about 70 3D prints in the last 6 months since I've been up and running, and Martin was very helpful getting everything all set up with me and working with me on the software, because as he said, I was the first person to really use this as an application with art, and I had to kind of adapt the software to my needs. I just want to show you, I have here an original, a 3D print, and one of my 2D prints, and you can see here, it's basically, the way the scanner works is it's photographing in little 1 pixel wide slices, so vertical slices here. So it's extremely high resolution, and I can blow up these images basically as large as I need them. And because of the side lighting, I'm able to control the amount of shading on the prints, and they look very real. So people see my flat canvas prints now and think that they're real paintings. And that's just 2-dimensional without any texture added. And over here, you can see a 2D and a 3D print next to each other. The colors are slightly off because I'm not currently doing my printing in-house. There's an exciting, I am planning to get a SwissQ printer and do my own printing in-house soon. And there's a really neat feature where you can print out like a color sample and then have it off the printer and then have it scanned back by the CRUSE scanner so that it automatically will print exactly as you're seeing on the screen, which is nice. So you won't see these slight color variations anymore. But since I don't have the printer here in house, I'm not able to control that as well. So here's the original. And you don't actually need, even though my paintings are very highly textured, you don't really need that much height in the depth slices to capture that exact texture. So here's the print, and hopefully you can see the texture here. So this was done in 6 layers of about 0.1 millimeter in height each. And I found that to create the most realistic effect, I like the last part of the depth slices. In other words, like that detail work on the height. So those last final ridges, if you can really capture those with the printer, that's what the eye goes to, because that's what casts the shadows and catches the light. And that's what makes it really look like a real oil painting. And I tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've been fooled by one of my own prints sitting on the floor. And I'm like, I thought I already sold that painting. Why is it still here? And then realizing it's a 3D print. And they're almost indistinguishable from each other, especially if you don't know that you're looking at a print. I mean, it looks just like an oil painting. It catches a light, it casts shadows, it even glimmers a little bit, just like an oil painting does. And we're essentially putting down acrylic paint, really. I mean, this is, it's a synthetic ink, which is very similar to acrylic paint. So you end up getting basically an acrylic painting versus an oil painting. So obviously an oil painting will interact differently with the light, but yeah, the effect is amazing. Sorry, something is recording there. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so anyone have any questions about my process?
I have a question. So is it, are you a little bit afraid that this will reduce how important, or how the I don't know how to say it, but your paintings, the money you get, or how they known? So maybe if you share them with a lot of people and everybody have the same painting at home, that's.
I was worried about that. But think about this. How valuable is Starry Night by Van Gogh versus he did this painting of a tree under a bridge, next to a bridge, and it's also a very beautiful painting. There are no reproductions of it. There aren't umbrellas with people promoting this image, tote bags, cell phone covers, notebooks. But you take Starry Night, and it's been so broadly promoted. This image is everywhere. And that painting, Starry Night, is now way more valuable than one of his lesser known, less promoted paintings. So when I presented this to my collectors, I actually used that as an example of how all these prints that are going out of an original oil painting actually makes that oil painting more rare, more valuable, because it's more well-known, more people love it, more people recognize it as a painting by Aaron Hansen.
Great, thanks.
I would say it's also a way to make art more affordable for a broader or wider range of people, right?
Exactly. I mean, the more people that can own work by me, the more valuable my work will become, and more people will appreciate it. And it's a perfect price point, because my canvas prints, something this size, might sell for like $700. The 3D print is about $3,000. My original is about $12,000. So it's the perfect middle point. And we've honestly just been selling them like hotcakes. We have had nothing but rave reviews from all 70 people that have bought these. They're just like, it looks just like the original. We hang it and it looks beautiful and it catches a light and casts shadows. And people are just thrilled with this technology. I'm really happy I decided to get a CRUSE and do this.
So.
Oh, he's asking if the texture is built up in colors. So the texture is actually applied down in a mix of all the different ink colors, so it appears black. And this is to save time and the ink expense as you're printing. And then the way I do my prints is we do a white layer to cover up all the black. So it's a nice white surface to then print on. And then you print the color layer on top of that. If you remember when Martin was showing you the different scans and how you can layer them and select different amounts of each scan, it's called the image stacking tool. This is very, very valuable when you're doing fine art reproductions, because in order to do the 3D scans, the two lights are pretty close together, and they need to be this distance because they're actually casting little shadows on each ridge, and then measuring the length of the shadow to then extrapolate with trigonometry the height and create like a height map, right? So you get a 3D height map of your painting. And but that's not necessarily the best scans for creating the actual image of the painting. It's great for capturing the 3D data that you need to print, but for the actual color image, the lights can actually move out further out. So it's called light angle 4 is the light angle that I use, and I always use it coming from the left side because that's traditionally where artwork is lit from. And with the lights further out, they cast longer shadows, and that creates a more dramatic texture feel. So when creating the color layer over my textured prints, I'm using that kind of blended screen that Martin was showing you, where you could change where you could move a light around. It's called the shaded view. So I'll actually export the shaded view, I think someone was asking what the application was of having like the gold and the gloss layer in artwork. So one application is you can adjust the light and make the gold look really shiny using that gloss layer. And then you can export that and print that as a 2D image. And it looks very, very realistic, even just as a regular 2-dimensional image. And then artists could then sell that as a print and have it, people would think that it's real gold, even though it's just it's a photograph of gold, basically.
There's a question by Robert Munoz. Hello, I would like to ask what would be the correct scanning resolution, for example, to print on a 1000 dpi UV printer, for example, in a 32-inch times 48-inch frame, right? So it's a very specific question about resolution.
So from my perspective, most of our color layers that come from CRUSE are anywhere up to 600 dpi. The texture layers, we've gone down as low as 100 dpi and still gotten very good results.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that you need very high DPI. The scanner will scan very high resolution, but in terms of what the eye can see in artwork, it's not important. Like you said, like 100 DPI would be fine.
What materials do you print your prints on, Erin?
So I've experimented with canvas, wood, and dye bond. One problem that I had to overcome was creating a moire effect, because the scans are so good and so high res that because my paintings are painted on canvas, so there's an underlying texture that's captured with the scanner, right? And then if I then print that onto canvas, you get a moire effect, which a moire effect is where you have two overlapping patterns, and it creates kind of like a weird optical illusion. So again, I was able to use the image stacking tool to just blend in some noise. And I took two reverse angle lights and just blended them together a little bit to create some noise. And then I used a little bit of Gaussian blur in Photoshop. And that completely got rid of all the moire effect while still having very, very sharp prints. Because it's easy to get rid of a Gaussian blur if you're willing to get rid of all of your sharpness, right? But I wanted to still maintain that really crisp look while still getting rid of the Gaussian blur. So I was able to use the CRUSE software to do that. And then, sorry, I lost track of what the original question was.
What materials you print on? I think you answered that already.
That's right. Yeah. So on a smoother surface, you don't get that effect. So like if I were to print onto wood or dye bond, then you don't have a gas, you don't get that moire effect.
Yeah. Interestingly, that we have somebody in the audience who is interested in printing on facades and printing on fiber cement. So have you ever thought about printing on fiber cement, or have like
it'd be like too porous, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but no big images on facades yet, right? You do not have.
No.
Yeah. So there's one question here. Can you have influence with UV light drying time if something is matte satin or gloss?
So
very specific.
You can. It depends on the specific ink set that you use. Really, with the LEDs, new technology, they're broken down into segments. So you can really pinpoint how you want to cure individual passes of ink, and you can actually get more of a gloss effect. That's one of the ways we manipulate the gloss channel in the printer, is allowing the ink to maybe wet out a little bit more to get a little bit of a glossy finish. You can cure it very quickly, and that'll give you more of a matte finish. So yeah, with the newer technology, you have immense control over how glossy you want the ink or the varnish to end up being.
So another question on what's the durability of the prints?
They're very hard. This is the 3D print. I don't know if you can hear.
Yeah.
They're very durable. I mean, you can beat this thing against the wall. It ends up being very hard plastic, and so it's as durable as plastic.
Thanks. So are there any more questions or anything I've missed?
Yes, in the question and answer section, there is a question how tall the texture you printed was, and if the printer stay in focus, if it's getting higher. Yeah, Jason, maybe you can answer that.
We've done prints as high as, I want to say, about a little over a half an inch. It ends up, you're using quite a bit of ink and it takes some time to do that. But one of the features of the SwissQPrint is we have a feature called auto increment. What that does is, as you're building those layer stacks, I'm not sure if you noticed when I did the presentation before, you see that the slices get kind of smaller and smaller. So after you do a print, if you know how thick the print is, like maybe your texture is at 0.1 millimeters, 0.15, you just tell the software how thick that is. And after each layer, it will automatically raise the carriage so that it stays at the same focal point.
Okay.
Right, Doug, I hope that's answered your question. So
there's also a question on the longevity of inks. So they're durable and.
Yeah, I would say durability, again, if you're talking indoors, I would say you're probably looking, I mean, they're not archival inks like what, some people look at with, like it has to go in a museum for 100 years, that kind of thing. But if you're indoors, if you're not in like outside direct sunlight, these things would probably last at least 10 years. The structure itself, I don't see any reason why that's going to fail ever. It's just, inks inherently, I don't care what kind of ink you're using, in direct sunlight, UV rays are going to start to fade inks. That's why in museums, they put these things behind ridiculous UV glass.
So first of all, we have one who's specifically thanking Erin for her beautiful artwork, and will do so as well. And there's a question on the SwissQ printers. Can every SwissQ printer print those structures? There's another artist here with us, and he wants to print on handmade paper, if I read that correctly. So can every SwissQ printer print those structures?
Yes. Now the newer machines are much faster. You have, with the newer machines, they're also LEDs, so you have more control over how things are done. But we have people with 8-year-old machines who wanted to get into it. And, we found out the settings that were needed and they're off and running. So if you know someone with a SwissQPrint or you're looking for someone, pretty much anybody can do it.
So there's somebody asking if it's possible to see the webinar afterwards. I think we can do that, right? It's recorded and
yeah, I'm recording it, and I will send an email later to everyone where you can access to the record.
also we had questions asking for samples, and we have a website set up for that, which is samples.cruisescanner.com, and there are a couple of samples that you can download and look at yourself in your own machines at home. So there's a question regarding the RIP software. Do you need the Caldera RIP software to do all this?
No, that's just the one that we generally use in-house. Any RIP software that works with, Onyx is another partner that we've worked with. There's several more that it'll work with. Really, all of this has to do with the CRUSE software and the printer software itself. The RIP is just telling the printer, what the CRUSE software wants, text data wise and color wise. That's all.
Good.
And also, if anybody was looking for samples of the print side of things, feel free to go to the SwissQPrint website. I believe there's a link there that you can request information as well.
So are there any more questions? Because we have approaching 9 now. Or, yeah, 1 hour. For entry-level scanner, 600 to 600 millimeter. If I scan stone slabs for entry-level scanner, so this, sorry, I didn't get that. With 1,200 millimeters, how to glue scans to full picture. So you want to scan 600 by 600 millimeters of scanned stone slabs, and then you want to glue something together to a full picture. Is that correct? Yes. So 600 to 600 millimeters would definitely work on the scanner you saw in this webinar today, right? You do not need to get any bigger. But we have no experience how to glue things together. Or Martin, do you read that question in the chat?
Yeah, he's asking if you can stitch together.
Oh,
I have
yes.
a lot of experience with that.
Yes, sure, you can do stitching.
Yeah. I got a scanner bed that's a 40 by 60, which most of my paintings are under that. But yes, you can stitch them together. You basically just scan it. Like if I had a larger painting, I would do it in 4 sections. I have a very large scanner room right now. I can actually show you, it's right here. So this is my scanner. I painted the walls black. So these are my 2 scanner computers. You need 2 computers to run the machine. I don't know if you can see them. And I painted the walls TV black, so it has the lowest light reflection. And so you can see my scanner. I don't know if you can see it okay, but it's pretty dark in here. But it's a 40 by 60 bed, but my room is quite big, as you can see. So I can scan a very large piece of artwork and do it in 4 sections, and then you stitch the images together.
We can add a second one in the room if
I
there's
know.
enough space.
So much room, yeah.
Great, thank you to show this. Jason, in the curious question and answer session, there's Eric Bynes asked about how realistic gold can be printed in a 2.5D scan, so including the height.
So if you guys were interested, we do have that gold painting that Martin had showed earlier. If you want to see, for yourself what that looks like, like I said, feel free, reach out to SwissQPrint. You can find out who your rep is, and you can ask for that gold heart painting, and I'd be happy to send it to you. We've also done prints on, like, Dbond has a gold mirror material. You can do prints on that. Like just really the range of things you can do is really tremendous.
Okay, thank you. I think there's one more question which you can follow up. It's again about the distance from the print head to the original, to the substrate when you are printing up the height, and how it's staying in focus.
So again, when you're building these, you're building them almost in a pyramidal structure. You know, like you can't like go up and then go out because there's no base. So as you go up, things tend to either stay the same or get a little smaller. The carriage is going to raise up so that it's always firing from both directions at the same point. Generally, when we do the color layer, we do the color layer unidirectional for the simple reason that when you're printing over something that's not flat, if you're firing from two directions, you're not going to be able to have accurate dot placement. So for the texture layer, it's auto increment. It raises itself up so that it's always pointing at the top of the previous layer. And for the color, again, it's going to be unidirectional to avoid doubling issues.
Okay, great, thank you.
There's one question on if SwissQ produces industrial scale printers from 1,000 square meters in 24 hours. 24 hours.
I don't remember off the top of my head what it is in square meters, but most of our customers are doing work at 1,100 square foot an hour. I know that's going to be a little bit off. Maybe Mike can take the square meter part of this.
Yeah, that can translate about 110 square meters per hour.
So you'd be looking at in 24 hours, 2,400 square
Correct.
meters in 24 hours. So yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So if anyone have questions or want to get more information, so please feel free to contact us directly. We will send out an email with all our contact data afterwards and the download link for the video. I want to say thanks to Jason, to Hemi, to Mike, to Erwin, especially. Thanks to joining us. Thanks all to join and feel free to contact us.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and making time for this. We find it very valuable. Hope you did too.
Yep. Thank you very much, everybody. I've seen some names.
Great to see you, Aaron.
Thank you. Everyone in Europe, have a good night, and the rest have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.